Hello, it is Success Story Saturday, June 9th, 2018. Steve Sipress here as the sun is about to set over the mountains in the background here. Maybe that's causing a little problem on the video. All right, but anyway, it should be relatively short today. Anthony Bourdain, and John is here. Good seeing you. Tony Bourdain, we lost a true one-of-a-kind. Anthony Bourdain, or Tony Bourdain, no BS. That's what I liked most about the guy. I had almost nothing in common with him other than he was born in the town of Leonia, New Jersey, and grew up about 3-4 miles from where I went to high school in Fort Lee, New Jersey. And he went to high school in Englewood at a private school, which is also bordering town of Fort Lee, New Jersey. So we have that in common, and that New York no BS attitude. But Anthony Bourdain, or Tony Bourdain, was a chef, and yes, a legend, John. He certainly was. Reportedly took his own life by suicide, and for whatever those reasons, but I'm going to celebrate his life and not talk much about his death, although this kind of epidemic of suicides, it's a shame. You only live once. I always was taught to make the most out of it, certainly not to cut it short no matter what's going on. In fact, as an entrepreneur, life is full of ups and downs, and we love challenges. We love challenges. There are down times, and these times pass, and fighting our way through it. You know, the up times when all the money's rolling in and automation is happening and things are great, like, that's not where all the great stories are. All the great stories are digging out and fighting back from the down times. So, not that I wish them or look forward to them happening, but I know they will, and I'll fight my way out of it and have some more stories to tell. But Anthony Bourdain, maybe not in the truest sense people would think of as an entrepreneur, since he always worked for somebody else, but he was a free spirit who pretty much was a free agent. And in that way, he was an entrepreneur. He was not a long-time employee anywhere. Knew he wanted to be a chef when he was growing up as a kid, and he went to culinary arts school, and then he became a chef at a few top restaurants in New York, always bouncing around. Again, the mark of an entrepreneur, an ADD, not a long-term employee. He didn't see like a job with one company as being a career. His career was himself. And he, as a master chef, by bouncing around, was showing that he was the master of his circumstances, and he was to sink or swim, and not the different. So I think the most famous restaurant he worked for went bankrupt after he left, and came back again. But he wasn't tying his fortunes to an employer or working for somebody. As a chef, running a kitchen is an entrepreneurial thing in itself. But then he also, people might not know, but he wrote a few novels. One was made into a movie. He then became famous when he wrote his article for The New Yorker and turned that into a book and turned that into a hit TV show, and had several. Again, not just one show working for one network. He had all kinds of different shows and was guest, judge chefs on these judging the food shows. Mind you, I never watched any of this stuff. Again, don't have a lot in common with him as far as his interest. I'm not any kind of a foodie. Not a big world traveler or restaurant goer or any of that stuff. He also ingested anything he could possibly find with no filter at all into his body. So he was a big smoker and a drinker, and ingested any kind of drug he could, was a heroin addict for years, and took every other drug under the sun, and ate famously. That's what he wrote about, and had his TV shows about how he would eat anything. Like a live cobra, and goats, whatever, testicles or something, and intestines or whatever, and this or that. And he was always like, hey, you gotta, when you travel, the whole idea is to honor your host by eating whatever they eat and whatever they make, no matter what your beliefs in food. And he would eat or drink anything. So what an adventurer. And he really didn't hold back with his no BS opinions and thoughts. Wasn't, as far as political, I know he had Barack Obama on his show, but he wasn't pro-Obama, anti-Obama, pro-Trump, anti-Trump. He was pro-honesty, pro-life, pro-adventure, pro, always something new going on, always looking ahead, always doing new things, not ever getting in a rut, moving around from thing to thing, very entrepreneurial. Married 3 times, just for some, just tremendous. What people think is a disorder, but of course is a evidence of a highly functioning, really elite functioning human being, which is this ADD, this attention deficit. Gotta try something new, whether it's new food, new drugs, new people, new places, new shows, new careers. I gotta write, I gotta be on TV. He won Emmys, won a Peabody, he won a Webby for the best blog there was. He was like the food writer of the year. I mean, he won awards for all over the place, became a multi-millionaire, and really was, I don't know what happened, but he was living a life you would think was the life of his dreams, or probably didn't have dreams of a life, but he was living a life that he loved and had plenty of adventures left to go. So the world is missing Tony Bourdain, an adventurer, no BS guy, and someone who was outspoken in making the most of life and thereby uniting people into what life had to offer, and not getting down with the nonsense that you see anytime you turn on TV news or look on the internet to quote news or whatever. It's all about negatives and fighting and, one side against the other, and I hope this fails and I hope that succeeds, and he's great, no, he's terrible, and all. Anthony Bourdain was having none of that. He was having all life had to offer, but as the saying goes, he lived fast, he died young. I mean, I'm no doctor, but if it wasn't suicide, I mean, I don't know how much you can punish your body like he did and survive to a long time, but we certainly had more years of Tony Bourdain and seeing him on TV and reading his writings and just kind of living life as an adventurer vicariously through him. So we miss him, we honor him, and that's it for Success Story Saturday. Keith Lee is here. Great seeing you, Keith, and I'll see you in a couple of days in San Diego at the Bill Glazer event. It'll be great to see you there. And so I don't see any of the other questions, comments, concerns. Phil Brakefield, Seal, Phil says, Phil's always got great things to say. Talk about a life well lived. Phil says, lots of genius people burn so brightly your eyes can hardly watch them, and they often burn out quickly. Yeah, what a shame, but like I said, now that you mention that, Phil, not that it matters, but, could we have it another way? Could there have been a Tony Bourdain who lived, a long life and was just calm and even-keeled, and no, that's not the way he was. So, good point, Phil. Often those shooting stars burn brightly, but they burn out. And so there's the business lesson for the day, is that shooting star burns bright but then burns out. You saw it during the dot-com era of the turn of the 21st century, where these companies, just by having some enviable internet www.com domain, attracted millions and multi-millions and billions of dollars in investing, and then they blew through it all and they were gone real quick. I've seen it happen many times. Businesses get off to an incredible fast start, or people join a company and salespeople, they start selling things like crazy, but then the realities of the job or the opportunities set in, and they don't set up systems, or they just, for whatever reason, can't handle the actual work that's involved with building long-term success. And so, like I said, not a lot of common with me and Anthony Bourdain. I'm not traveling all around the world and throwing anything possible into my body. I'm real careful about that stuff. I'm real, like I just mentioned to Keith, I'm traveling to San Diego for an event Monday and Tuesday with one of my favorite mentors of all time, Bill Glazer, who graces the cover of my May issue of the Rhino Monthly magazine, and is one of the biggest influences of me, and therefore on all my clients in the past 15, 20 years or so in marketing and advertising and business building. Although just about every time we saw each other, Bill would shake his head at the end and just say, we'll just agree to disagree. Because, prove me wrong, he would always say. But I always took his advice and loved Bill, and he cares about everybody. But yeah, I don't just indiscriminately travel all over and ingest indiscriminately anything in my body and jump around quite so much as Tony Bourdain. I don't anticipate being married 3 times. I don't anticipate being a heroin addict. I don't anticipate having 17 different careers and bouncing around like crazy. I anticipate lasting a long time on a much more even keel. Being an entrepreneur is enough adventure for me. There's enough ups and downs, and vicariously, as I keep saying that word, through my clients. I'm constantly consulting and coaching clients who, of course, are having their ups and downs, and that's at this point in my career enough for me, is to help them through those times and kind of be with them and guide them along the way. That's enough ups and downs for me. Anyway, this isn't about me, it's about Tony Bourdain. So, Arrivederci, bon voyage to Tony Bourdain. That's it for Success Stories Saturday. And I'll be back tomorrow just to check in on Sunday Fun Day. Might see me taking a dip in my pool that is right there tomorrow. Before I head to San Diego, first thing Monday morning. Beauty of being here in Arizona for an event that starts Monday morning in San Diego. It's a 1-hour flight. I'll take a flight out of here Monday morning. I'll be at the event Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm taking a flight home, and I'll be home before 9 o'clock on Tuesday night. And I won't miss a minute of the event and seeing a whole bunch of old friends. But I'll be recording Direct Mail Monday and Topical Tuesday from San Diego at Bill Glazer's Outrageous Campaigns live event. But I will be checking in tomorrow on Sunday Fun Day. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for the comments and helping to make this a better video, as anyone that comes on and comments always does. And I'll see you back here tomorrow on Sunday Fun Day. That's it for today. Over and out. Bye-bye.